Good morning, everyone. We're here for the fourth edition of GluTalk, and today we're really honoured to have Dan join us. So good morning to you, Dan.
Hey, morning.
Dan, I just wanted to get a quick introduction from yourself and your brief background for the audience, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. So, my name's Dan Overton. My current role is the Deputy Information and Security Officer for EMEA at Lockheed Martin. So Lockheed, we're a global defence company. Obviously, got interests all over the world. But yeah, my role specifically focusing on the EMEA region. Historically, before that, I've sort of started in networking and infrastructure and moved into network security before transitioning to information security. And the role I'm doing now is more of sort of a governance, risk compliance, and security leadership role now at Lockheed, sort of focusing on the security posture of the region and risk reduction, that sort of thing.
So great honour to have you on the talk show today. So thank you very much, Dan, for giving up the time to do it. Looking forward to chatting to you. So. One of the things that I regularly talk to the partners and the vendors about is the shifting role, the change in the role from certainly when I was in post, right, as a CISO and a CIO aspect, and how that's changed. How have you seen that change in the last 18 months?
So I think the change has been going on longer than 18 months. So I've been in information security for about 7 or 8 years now. And even in that time, it's changed, dramatically. It has definitely sped up recently as well, just because of the way the world's been with COVID and sort of different priorities for companies. But yeah, I think security is no longer the gatekeeper. Should no longer be the gatekeeper in an organization, right? We need to focus more on enabling the business to operate securely, but rather than just saying no outright, or you can't do this because it's of X, Y, Z. We need to be the people that the business comes to for advice. We guide the business and sort of help them achieve their goals and their strategies, but do it in a secure way. So I think a crucial skill that's becoming more apparent in security leadership, but also all security roles, is really understanding the business and having that sort of business acumen, the soft skills, being able to communicate with non-technical people in a way that makes sense to them, and you can get your point across and influence, but without using your technical jargon and sort of telling them things they're not really bothered about. So I think that's a huge shift in the way that the sort of security leadership position has changed. As security in general, cloud has obviously come on leaps and bounds. So many people now are involved or getting involved in the cloud, and maybe the smaller companies don't realize the repercussions. They instantly think, the cloud, it's going to be safe. We'll put all our data in, not realizing there's that shared responsibility, and you need to have your controls in place to ensure that nothing happens. As well as that, your digital transformation. A lot of companies are starting to think more about how they can upgrade their digital profile and their way of working, and COVID sort of accelerated that for a lot of companies. Really, you see a lot of companies now have VPN services allowing their staff to work from home, and obviously they sort of didn't previously. So that's another huge thing. You're opening up all these new attack vectors into your company that maybe weren't previously considered.
And I mean, so it's spot on, Dan, because I mean, I've seen the roles change in the fact that where you've gone from, like you said, right, the gatekeeper to now being much more of a trusted advisor, but having to align back to those business and objectives and outcomes, right? Because otherwise, you're just seen as the thing of the last resort, as they used to call it, like the thing that's over in the corner that nobody talks about from a security perspective. And one of the questions I did have was, how's the pandemic affected you? But I think you've already said, right? So the fact that everybody's now working remotely, the fact that we're doing this remotely now should really tell people a lot that the ways of working have changed dramatically. Is that the case for you as well? Is that working
I mean,
remotely?
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that's been spoken about recently is how the perimeter, people are the new perimeter. Is a sort of a bit of a marketing slogan, but it's very accurate, right? You no longer have your office with your staff in the office, and then you have your firewalls on the internet and your intrusion prevention systems and your proxies, that sort of thing. Now, people extended the office into homes and onto potential devices. They bring your own device. People are now working in a very different way to what was sort of inconceivable 10 years ago. And you need those controls in place to ensure that the company and its assets and its data, it's still protected. And I think that's only going to increase even more, to be honest. I think this is just the start, and obviously there's this huge conversation now that companies are having about whether to bring everyone back or have a hybrid working environment. And then you bring location into it, right? Because you can work, you can do, if you work in IT, you can pretty much do your job anywhere you've got an internet connection. And that's another challenge. Are you going to allow staff to work in different countries with your company's information, that sort of thing as well? Another challenge.
And I think the figures speak for themselves, right? In the fact that, so some of the reports I've seen is an increase in just this year of upwards of 600% of things like phishing attacks or ransomware attacks. So it's a huge increase in those threats and attacks across there. How are you addressing that? You really having to educate your board back to the risk to the business now?
Yeah, I think in any company, security culture is really important, right? You need, people are your first line of defense. If you can get that sort of good security awareness training and that culture, I think it really will drop those figures that you just mentioned. The amount of attacks that are successful. The problem is that's not a quick thing to do. It takes a long time to really build that security culture, up and up. And at Lockheed, we have that just historically. We're a very security aware company just because of the nature we do. But for smaller companies, it can certainly be a challenge to get that culture built up, and it does take time.
And I think you're spot on there. And a lot of people that I have the privilege to speak to, though, just think that just going and buying a piece of technology is going to fix the problem. Right now, me and having been in that role, that if you could just go and buy this silver bullet, it would be fantastic. But it's all about the people, the process, and the technology aspects. And what you've just said there is one of the biggest challenges, is how do you change users' behavior effectively to then complement with the technologies and the processes that you're putting in place behind that.
And that's absolutely. So you mentioned the new bit of technology that's one magic bullet, but that obviously doesn't exist, right? But the amount of products out there that sort of lots of flashy lights on, you put it in a data center and 100% secure, which obviously is not the case. And I think companies often need to look at sort of more foundational levels. So instead of going out spending all this money on this new bit of technology, and the AI is like the latest buzzword, isn't it, in cyber, AI, machine learning, all that good stuff. But companies are going out and investing crazy amounts of money in tools like this, but then they haven't got their vulnerability management down, they haven't got their patch management down, they've got Windows XP machines and servers on the internet with like default credentials, that sort of thing. And really sort of getting those foundations right first, you'll negate a huge amount of risk and mitigate a huge amount of it just from that, really.
And you said it earlier, right? So cloud is obviously on a massive increase, and it comes on to our next topic around, digital cyber and customer strategies, and the fact that we're seeing a lot of people move to the cloud. And actually, I was on a call with a big enterprise company a few weeks back, and they said, we've collapsed our data centers because of COVID. We no longer need our data centers there. We've put everything up into AWS. and we're saving millions of pounds on security. And I was sitting there, Dan, scratching my head, going, I'm not sure how you've done that, but I'd love to find out. And when you actually dug deeper, the fact that they hadn't done any of those foundational elements that you've just said, that they're now having to go back and actually retrofit a cloud architecture that now into that security. How are you addressing that within your role? Are you embedded with your digital and customer strategies, or are you still on the outside kind of thing?
Yeah, our digital strategy and our company strategy are very well aligned, which I think is obviously crucial in any company. But yeah, I think you see the problem people have is, they jump on the latest bandwagon, right? So cloud is heralded as this new amazing thing, and it is incredible. Yeah, it really is amazing, and there's so many incredible use cases for it, but it's got to be right for the business, and it's got to benefit the business in the right way. And just moving to cloud because everyone else is moving to cloud, and shutting the data centers and doing all this cool stuff, if it's not right for the business, you're just almost just wasting money. And like you said, your previous comment, you're then going to have to go back later on and sort of effectively start again from scratch. And it's probably going to cost more than you've saved, and you're putting yourself at greater risk. And I was at a conference yesterday, and I was speaking with one of the people there, and they saying that they recently moved a lot to AWS, all their development tools, but the company was really hesitant to use that opportunity when they're moving to AWS to re-architect and do everything how it should have been done in the first place, but properly in cloud. And it's the ideal opportunity, right? Because you've got this fresh start that you're very rarely ever going to have. And companies should take that opportunity. And I know it'll cost money, it'll take time, but it will benefit you so much in the long run.
Yeah,
to doing that, and just won't come back later on and cost you twice as much as you saved anyway.
I 100% agree, and I compare it to building a house. That if you were to go and build a house tomorrow, and you're going to go and make sure those foundations are solid, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to go and make sure that everything that goes above those foundations is not going to collapse halfway down. And unfortunately, we do see a lot of organizations just take that jump really quickly, as opposed to taking those extra few weeks to make sure that you're going to get it right the first time, or you're putting the security foundations, like you said, around VM or security awareness, or whether it's asset management, the amount of people that do you know where your assets are, to be able to reduce risk, is absolutely key. So how important do you see, obviously in your role, right, you're going to get approached by a lot of vendors and a lot of partners in your role. How important do you see they are within your organization?
Yeah, obviously they are hugely important. In my previous roles, I've dealt more with vendors than my current role now. But the ones that stand out are the ones that really take the time to listen. A lot of companies come in, they think they know what you need and what you want, and they come with all this grand plan that costs however many digits, but they haven't actually took the time to sit down with you, listen to the requirements, and actually tailor something that's right for you. And obviously that's just how some companies work in sales. They're after the quick sale rather than actually thinking about what's best for the customer. So all the companies I've worked with in the past that have been like that have been great. And also for things like pen tests, you're on a strict timescale and a strict budget, and companies that help you make the most of that time. Say you've hired a pen test company for 3 days and you want them to look at a small section of your network or some systems, but the ones that really sit down with you, plan it out, and make sure you get your best return on investment for the time, and just make the most of when they're there, rather than some which will sort of waste a bit of time and just sort of don't get as much benefit out of it.
just do the bare minimum. So working with the vendors and the partners to help them understand your business outcomes. When I was in post, I'm sure you get this, is you're there to be successful to your business, because if you're successful, then you're obviously supporting your organization well. So I 100% agree that I think getting the vendors and the partners on your bandwagon, if you like, to understand where your challenges are, where you want to go and be successful, and how it aligns back to your business outcomes and objectives is absolutely key. So that's really insightful there. What just some industry level questions actually. So what are the biggest challenges that you see in the industry going forward?
Yeah, so I mean, we touched obviously on cloud and digital transformation, and that's I think are going to be the larger things that sort of coming our way. Really, I think you've still got the mindset that a lot of small companies have, that it will never happen to us. That we're like a charity, for example. Though some will think, no one's going to attack a charity because no one is that heartless. But cybercrime and the criminals involved, they don't care how they make their money. If they're happy to encrypt hospitals and lives at risk in the US recently, they don't care. So companies to get that sort of mindset out of their head that it will never happen to us, because at some point it probably will. And now that we're seeing these more people work from home and using cloud, I think it's only going to potentially go up.
Sorry.
That's right. So as well as that, I think more companies are thinking about security more now. And I read an article the other day that, I can't remember the percentage, but a lot more companies are looking to hire sort of a CISO-esque security leader in their company, where they haven't previously, just to be that sort of business partner and align the business to how to do security, really. So I think that's certainly going to change a little bit more, and we're going to see more leaders at companies with a security focus. But then on the opposite end, and I think this is a massive challenge and has been for a few years, but getting people into cyber, it's something I'm really passionate about, helping entry-level folk into the industry, because it's so difficult to break in a lot of the time. And I was quite fortunate in how I got into cyber, but you're seeing people that are working so hard to just get a shot, and actually people at existing roles in companies that might like to move into cyber. These people, they know your company, they know your business. They could be a great asset to your team, and you can teach the technical skills. You can put them on training courses, you can get them sort of studying and practicing and all that sort of thing. But if someone's got the attitude, willing to learn and really want to develop themselves and progress, then we need to be giving them, those sort of people, more of a chance, and removing the barriers from industry.
So mouth to my heart, mate. I did that at the last place I was at JLP, in the fact that you brought everybody, people from the help desk through, or people from the network team through into cybersecurity. And it's interesting, the amount of people that there are massive shortage skills, and it has been, as you said, for the last couple of years within the cybersecurity industry. The amount of people I talk to, and they say, we just can't get the people. But yet you have a team of people either within your business, or there are people obviously then wanting to learn. And we do an awful lot in that space as well, to help people go and do that. What do you think? Do you think that partners could help in that respect as well? Do you think that they could bring anything, from an experience perspective, to the table? Or do you think it's more about companies empowering
it is
people?
Mostly company. You've got a lot of HR departments and the application tracking systems, when people upload their CVs, that are asking for 5 years experience and a CISSP for an entry level cyber role, which is completely irrelevant and unnecessary. And obviously certifications have their place, but absolutely not needed for an entry level role at all. And it's just changing that mindset that people who haven't got that experience can still do a very good job, and just giving them the chance. Yeah.
And from you know, from an industry perspective as well, what are you seeing a lot more collaboration now? Hopefully, obviously, you went to your conference yesterday to get back with people, and that'll be really good. But do you see a lot more peer networking going to happen?
Yeah.
Again, over the next, you know,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I say, everyone's returning in person, so that's great, and you can have some fantastic conversations, you know, in person, and just meeting new people, getting new insights, new ideas, and obviously new cultures potentially as well. But I think as an industry, it's something we need to do better is collaborate. You know, we're all fighting the same enemy. You know, we might be competitors in our industries. You know, you might work, one person might work at B&Q, one person might work at Homebase, and they're obviously competitors in market, but they're both doing the same thing in a security team for that company. So there should absolutely be better collaboration, I think, with like just sharing of information and what they're seeing. And it does happen quite a lot in certain industries. Defense, for example, yeah, that happens, but I don't think it happens as much as it does. And yeah, we are all on the same side, so you know, we need to work together as much as possible, I think.
And I mean, that was one of the things that I loved was, you know, whenever I used to get vendors or partners come and talk to me, or I was working with the National Cybercrime Unit, was actually I wasn't just interested in what was happening within retail. I was interested in what was happening within defense or within oil and gas or finance, because generally the pattern used to be that, you know, if they're attacking those high end targets, that at some point they're going to come and attack the lower end, because it's all about, you know, that cost of entry, isn't it? You know, if it costs me less to go and attack you and breach your data. So I don't know whether you saw, but yesterday Robinhood, the trading platform, got hit. You know, and that's got a massive data breach now, which is going to impact all of their organization and their company. Now, Robinhood's a brand new app, right? It's a brand new application, and it should be designed with that security in mind. But we're certainly seeing a lot more of that if they were communicating more effectively across that market, then maybe they could have seen those kind of attacks coming. And taken action. So well, great. And so if you could, my only last passing thought was, if you could give any advice to you know, the partners and the vendors that are going to be watching GluTalk, what would it be? How could they connect with you personally? Not really connect with you, but in a generic term, right? How would you like to see them approach you and work with you?
Yeah, like I said, just listen more. You know, and this applies to anything in life. But you know, the more you listen, then you know, the more you gain out of the conversation. You know, if you're having a one-on-one conversation with someone and you're talking, like, you know, you're going to get a lot more if you just take a step back and listen. And yeah, for these vendors, just like listen to what the company's requirements are, you know, what business problems they're seeing, how your product is going to help solve this business problem. And yeah, really just have this conversation that isn't all about just talking and sort of selling, I suppose, despite the fact that they're obviously that is their job, but you know, they can do a much better sales job by just listening to what the customer is after. Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent, Dan. Well, thank you very much indeed. I know you're a very busy person at the moment, and especially in the run up to Christmas as well. But thank you very much indeed for taking the time. And hopefully we can have you back again next year, and we can see how you're getting on as you expand. So brilliant.
Sounds great. That's it. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Excellent. Cheers, Dan. Thank you very much. Bye.